Let's see. Okay. All right, so we are live. Okay, so I just checked to make sure everything was working here. Okay, seems like everything is good here. Let's wait until we have a few more people so we can get this live going. I hope everyone can see my whole screen now. I do believe that some of my screen was being cut out on the other previous two lives that I did, but everything should be fixed now. All right, so should wait for more people here. So people who follow me on Instagram, you guys should see that I did post a story about 4 to 5 minutes ago that I am live. So if you guys have come from Instagram, welcome. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel so that you guys get a notification that I am live, or at the very least, you can see that I am live on your YouTube homepage, because YouTube will personally put whatever channel that you're subscribed on onto your homepage if they are live. All right, so that it should give you a very good, easy access to this live. Okay, so let's go over PLTR. So technical wise, PLTR has been showing some really incredible strength. For every single market pullback, we've just been stuck in this little tiny range, and the price of PLTR has been respecting this range here. All right, so this with this range that's been happening, this very tight range, we ultimately got that breakout today above this range and above this descending resistance trend line. Okay, so with that in mind, we closed above or very near the next level of resistance around 26. And so in order for us to really start moving upwards, we need to clear a previous pivot point around 26, which is around 26.20. This is the previous pivot high around this price action history. So in order for us to really kind of clear and actually go back up above 27.50, which I've been touting as the first profit target, will be for what will need to be 26.20. So we need to clear 26.20 in order for us to absolutely start to move upwards. Now, with PLTR, I truly believe that in the next 5 to 10 years, this will be a name that you need to really be invested into in your long-term portfolios with equity, and you need to start kind of even buying leaps if you guys want to, option contract leaps. So it might be really prudent to be patient on this name, because patience is really needed on this name. There's a lot of people who lost a lot of money on PLTR just because of the fact that they couldn't stay patient. So with PLTR, as we're still staying above the IPO range here that we made back in October to November, this is what's initially made me really bullish, because of the fact that we've been staying above the IPO range, the price range that we made. And so far, it's still looking very good. If I look at the weekly time frame here, we've just been in a tight range so far. As we're getting tighter and tighter, we ultimately are looking to break out above 27.50 and eventually I want the stock to be at around $30. Okay, so PLTR looks very, very good. Okay, seems like we have our some viewers here tuning in, so welcome everyone. Okay, so that's kind of my quick analysis on PLTR. But with PLTR, even on the weekly time frame, the RSI is showing great strength. But anything can happen with PLTR if any one of the contracts start to deteriorate, not deteriorate, but absolutely just crumble to pieces because something happened to the other party that they have been contracted to. I think Palantir will be very, very significantly affected because of the fact that they are their revenues and their profits are mostly based off of contracts. So Palantir is but other than that, Palantir is a great long-term name with good fundamentals and a good growth insight into the future. Okay, let's look at another name here. So Zoom. Okay, so this is a name that's it's kind of interesting here because with the Delta variant kind of going around and is actually killing a lot of people. I personally know friends of friends and friends families who are getting sick, and some of them have actually passed away from the Delta variant. And some of them are unvaccinated and some of them are vaccinated. But mostly the ones who are vaccinated are actually surviving and they're doing a whole lot better than the people who are not unvaccinated. So, I personally believe that being vaccinated is a lot better. It's better than nothing because, this vaccine is actually going to help you absolutely be protected. And even if you're one of those rare breakthrough cases from Delta, I still think that you have a pretty high chance of surviving thanks to the vaccine. So with this vaccine rollout here, I still think that a lot more people are going to take it, and it's going to be essential for us to not be headed down to a road of another lockdown. So with Zoom, though, the reason why I kind of want to look at this name is that if there is a potential for a lockdown, in the event that we get, another high rate of cases as we've been seeing currently so far, but if we even get a higher rate of cases, I think that there's a potential for Zoom to start going higher again. But as you guys can see on the technical chart on the daily time frame, you guys can clearly see that we have a nice double top. I mean, this right here is our first left top, and then to the right is our second right top. So with this, the stock has been moving lower and lower and lower ever since this double top. Now we're finding some type of good support around 340ish. Okay, I'm just using that general whole number there as the psychological level as well. But if you guys want to be more specific, I would say around 337.50ish will be the level here. But with earnings coming up, okay, so this is the second reason why I kind of wanted to look at Zoom is that with earnings coming up and also a name that has been absolutely benefited from this COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, the only reason why Zoom absolutely blasted off and their share prices rose, a huge percentage is because of this COVID-19 pandemic. Now, everyone in the world knows what Zoom is. Every person in a first country is that Zoom has been really beneficial to make sure that we keep on having social interactions and in the workplace. So with Zoom, I think that this is a name that can still very much run up. And so far, it seems like we are holding and making a new ascending support trend line as well from this pivot low point here around $273.20. So with that in mind, the third reason and the last reason of why I want to look at Zoom is that with Peloton, okay, so Peloton had earnings, and they had very disappointing sales, okay, and their earnings. So basically, the overall earnings was very disappointing, and they dropped overnight, yesterday night after reporting the earnings after hours. And so with Zoom, I'm kind of going to expect the same type of kind of I guess sentiment during the earnings call, and the rhetoric of what they say might be a bit negative as well, since the global economies have been opening. But with this Delta variant, though, it's creating a lot of uncertainties. All right, so with Zoom, I don't know what they're going to say. But if I was bullish on Zoom, I would probably want to hear that they are actively doing whatever they can to kind of make things certain from the uncertainties of Delta, and that they're doing as much as they can to stay relevant as a company that focuses on online Zoom video calls and video communications, and even online calls as well, phone communications. So with Zoom, I would say that if I was bullish, I want to see that most likely the next a quarter, then well, actually the rest of the quarters for the fiscal year of 2021, I would say that they might be a bit negative, as they are not too sure if there might be another lockdown or anything else. But as more and more people get the vaccines, that's also going to create a lot of uncertainties as well, even as people are getting vaccinated, along with simultaneous increase in COVID-19 cases due to the Delta variant. Now, with Zoom, technical wise, I just think that we need to hold above 337.50ish. But if you break below, if you sell into earnings, I've seen a lot of names these days that are selling into earnings. There can potentially be a big increase as a earnings reaction overnight. But earnings are next week. Let's see a specific date. So August 30th will be the earnings date. I don't know if it's pre-market or after hours. I will have to look into that. But I'll make sure my CFO Swinger Watch subscribers will know that for sure. If you guys are subscribers who have tuned in here. But it looks like, it's with Zoom here, I think, to be honest, I'm also going to wait until after earnings, just like Peloton. If you guys tuned in to my last live, my previous live, you guys now know why I wasn't really interested in Peloton, since someone did ask me to do a technical analysis right before earnings, but I told them that it wasn't something that I should be. I didn't want. I really didn't have interest in looking at until after earnings, and so after Peloton reported earnings, really bad earnings, they just dropped, and it seems like they're looking to drop even lower. And so Zoom can have that same fate. We even have a bearish chart pattern here already that's working its way out, and we have a pretty bearish looking price action here throughout this whole week. O'Brien, hey, so you made 800% on that move. Nice. Yeah, Zoom contracts didn't move at all today, and I would assume it didn't move at all this week. It didn't really go anywhere. If you were holding, let's say, Zoom calls, you might have even lost some as the contracts lost their value and the premium went lower and lower from the point of your entry. But Zoom, when earnings come up, and I think O'Brien said it's pre-market. Thank you. Zoom is absolutely a name that I will be looking at after earnings, because Zoom has been a prominent player in the coronavirus pandemic. Wow, that's awesome, O'Brien. I didn't know you made 800% on that on my I believe the CFO Swinger Watch, because I did mention this name around here. Okay, but yeah, I mean that's amazing. I will screenshot that actually, and I'm going to put that on my Instagram if you don't mind. and I'll put that on my highlights as well for my testimonials because it's absolutely lovely to see when people are profiting off of my plays here. Because I try to do as much as I can to really help you guys be able to profit and learn simultaneously because it's very, very hard to find sources out there lately that's actually giving you the actual valuable information that you need to know and only the information that you need to know and kind of give you guys a good myopic but valuable information and perspective to help you guys really formulate a good trading game plan and make some money while learning. Okay, so anyone in the chat, if you guys want to, at this point, submit a ticker, please do. I'll be waiting here. But also, I will be ending around 8:20ish. Okay, I'm going to do a quick live here. So that should be around 30 minutes or 35 to 40 minutes there for a live, which is the usual time I usually do my lives, but I usually go over. If you guys already know, I go over an hour for you guys because I thoroughly enjoy doing this for you all. Okay, so submit you guys a sticker in the chat below. I know it's Friday, so I know there aren't a lot of people, but hey, you know what? Even there's not a lot of people, I still enjoy seeing you guys coming here on a Friday night and absolutely dedicating yourself to really, really learn. And that's the reason why I've had over 65 students, and most of them have that type of a personality, a character for wanting to learn more. And it's an absolutely great feature to have, in my opinion. Okay. Seems like people aren't still ready to give me a ticker symbol, so I will wait a little bit more. So while you guys are typing in a potential ticker that you guys want me to go over, I am going to look for my charger as my phone is going out of battery here. If I can find my charger, that is. Okay. You guys can give me 1 second here. Okay, so I am back. All right, so it seems like no one has requested a name, so I will be personally going over some names that I am going to be watching for the next maybe a month or two. But let's see. So let's take a look at Apple. So we've had an amazing bounce back in the overall markets and in the tech sector. The overall markets have been making all-time highs consistently. And, I've initially said that there's a potential for a market correction. I still think that there is a potential market correction coming. But, I have to follow the trend. And it's always important that you guys follow the trend as well and not go against the trend. So, it's really, really prudent to, it's always a good idea to have your own personal beliefs and stay consistent to your beliefs, but at the same time, when you're looking at something like, well, like a technical chart, it's always a good idea to focus and actually, believe what is actually in front of you, right? What's observable to you, instead of really focusing on trying to, formulate trade game plans just based off of your own opinion and on your own beliefs without actual evidence. So with Apple, we're still in the process of making this big flag here after this initial breakout above this symmetrical triangle, if I can move my chart here. The symmetrical triangle or wedge, remember, symmetrical triangles and wedges are both synonymous names, all right? They're the same chart pattern. Some people like to call it a symmetrical triangle. Some people like to call it a wedge. I use both, so please don't get confused if I say both at the same time. But after this initial breakout and an impulsive run up to the previous highs around 144.41, we continue to move up higher, and ultimately we hit a roadblock, a ceiling, an area of resistance around almost 150-ish. And so 150 has now become a very significant area of resistance. And so if you guys can also see, in the past 2 weeks of price movement and action, it seems like we're also forming another micro wedge here, okay, or symmetrical triangle. And with this, okay, whenever I see another same bullish chart pattern, a similar bullish chart pattern within a macro chart pattern, that just tells me that the trend is strong. The buyers are very much in place and ready to absolutely blow this stock to the top. And it just gives me more confidence that for the fact that there's a overall macro chart pattern, and within that macro chart pattern, there's a micro bullish chart pattern as well. So, I would expect Apple to kind of go up above 150 again, okay, and then hit this descending level of resistance, come back down, and then immediately bounce off and then break out, okay? So it might be a bit volatile there, as people might get just faked out again, just because of the fact that if we break above 150, they're going to believe that, okay, Apple is ready to break out and I'm going to get in, right? And then if that happens, and if there's an actual fake out, if we, like I said, if we reject again around this descending resistance trend line, I would want to see these buyers get out, and so we will have this a little tiny sell-off into most likely around 149, maybe if we break below 149, maybe to 148.50-ish, and eventually bounce at this ascending support trend line and absolutely break to the upside and break all the resistances, both this 150 and descending resistance trend line. Okay, so if we're able to break both of these two areas of resistances, I would want to see Apple climb up and eventually up to 152 and higher. All right, so someone asked me if Apple can go to 155, and so, well, I wouldn't know, right? But 155 can be a psychological level that a lot of traders may be looking for, because I did see when I was trading Apple the last 2 weeks, there was some volume and open interest in the 155 contracts, no matter what expiration date that I was looking at, but especially in the September and the Octobers as well. Okay, so if you guys are looking to trade options on this, I would say 155 is a good target, but that's also a very, very big move, okay, from where we are now. So, I would say 152 is probably the most logical price target to kind of assume to want from this point on. And also, if we get a little dip below over the weekend, maybe if we bounce at 148 again and we get in at that entry, you most likely have a 1-4 risk to reward. If your entry is 148 and your reward is 152. Okay, so that's a pretty good risk to reward ratio there. Okay, so with that is it for Apple. For the people who just came in, I did PLTR. If anyone is looking to ask about PLTR at the start of this live stream, so make sure you guys watch the very start of the live stream because of the fact that I did PLTR in a very in-depth technical analysis. like I do every single live. But let's see. Let's look at UNH. Okay, and the reason why I say let's look at UNH is that this health name, okay, this is a health insurance name. All right, it provides millions and millions of people, mostly American families here, with insurance, private insurance. And so, and I'm pretty sure they do a lot of other things as well, but I did not do my research on that aspect. But the reason why I want to look at UNH is that we are right back into this range that we made, okay? And for the fact that, we've made this range at all-time high levels after this incredible break. So this is one of the most ideal situations here, okay? Around 364 to 365-ish was our resistance area. And so whenever we have a hit of this resistance, okay, so we had 1, 2, and 3. So when we hit this resistance area for the third time, we broke out, okay? And we broke out right here with with good volume here, all right? And that's what we call the 3-touch golden rule. If you guys haven't heard that before, where in the most ideal scenario, stocks will most likely break to the upside if the price touches the area of resistance 3 times, or vice versa, where if the price hits the support 3 times, it's going to break below to the downside. Okay, and this is a perfect scenario for the situation. A lot of people were expecting a triple top, which is a bearish chart pattern, but because of the fact that there was a lot of people who were expecting a triple top, these people got squeezed out as buyers came in stronger than sellers, and they pushed the price upwards to an all-time high in this time period, to 379.11, and then we pulled back. And why do we pull back? Because we're trying to get a confirmation that we're indeed going to see another leg higher, and for the fact that we're still in an uptrend. And so the reason why I kind of want to go over this is that this looks similar to where we are right now, right? So we've got this initial breakout, okay? This is, I would consider this a 4th touch from 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is not the most ideal scenario where we get that 3 golden touch, but it's also not as similar as the other one, okay? So it looks like we are going to be, I don't know what just happened here. Okay, so it looks like, we will most likely be, potentially moving up higher. But the only thing that worries me about this, and the reason why I say it's a little bit different compared to this one, is that we kind of pulled back a little too far in. We didn't even show any signs of wanting to bounce. Maybe on this candlestick, but we still failed to kind of use this previous level of resistance around 420, maybe 422.50 to 423.50-ish as a new level of support. And instead, we kept on going lower. This may just be a sign that maybe the stock is running out of steam, and that we might need to start heading lower and maybe even bounce around 405-ish again, because this was a previous area of major support as we're finding this tighter range here. So keep an eye out on this name, because health names tend to start going higher around the fall season, around the late 3rd to early 4th quarter. Okay, that's an actual trend that if you guys didn't notice, well, you guys know now. So with this name, it seems like it can be a great play in the next few coming months. So it might even go up to the psychological level around 450 or even 440. So make sure you guys keep a watch on that. Okay. All right. So since a lot of people do not have or they're not really interested in giving out names here for today, I will be ending the stream early today. But it still has been around almost 30 minutes, I think. But some names that you guys should be also looking at is Shop. Okay, so Shop was a diamond top here. I set this chart pattern. I think maybe 5 lives ago on Instagram Live. But right now, it actually negated this diamond top chart pattern. So it seems like we are going breaking to the upside, and the major SMAs here, momentum SMAs, the 10 and 21 are now curving upwards, and this 10 SMA looks like it wants to break above the 50. Okay, so I will want to see this name break this descending resistance trend line. Okay, so if you break above, I would say 1,550, we will see revisit back to 1,600. It's very likely. Okay. Okay, O'Brien, you gave me a name here. Thank you, thank you. So Chewy. All right, so this will be my last name. Okay, this will be my last name. I apologize, but this will be my last name here. So Chewy, this is a name that I've been looking at. I don't know where my lines went again, but I will do this quick technical analysis. So we have a previous level of resistance around 87.50ish or even 88, but right now it seems like Chewy might just flush below 88. Just judging off of how we are kind of reacting going into earnings. I believe earnings is on September 1st. So we might just have a sell-off, initial sell-off, all the way back down to this 200 SMA and 50 SMA, because now they're kind of almost touching each other and they're kind of correlating with together. And if we have a bounce, we might see that ultimate golden cross where the 50 SMA crosses above the 200 SMA. However, we did break out above this neckline of 88 of this inverse head and shoulders. So you guys see this left shoulder and then this head in the middle and then the right shoulder. And then the neckline is our resistance around 88. So let's, hopefully we might get, maybe, if you get good earnings, I think, obviously I'm not going to know how the price is going to go. It's always 50-50. I would say if they have good earnings, I hope that they can, the price can stay above 88, because if it breaks 88, we can most likely flush below. Why? Because 88 was our previous resistance, and every single time we hit 88, every single time we try to bounce, we reject it immediately. So there's a wall of sellers here. So these wall sellers can be potentially waiting here, looking to break to the downside. Okay, so if I go to 2-hour time frame here as well, there is also another bearish chart pattern that you guys might not be able to see here if you guys are kind of new to technical analysis. Okay, so what we're seeing here is an head and shoulders pattern. So on the daily time frame, I just told you guys about the inverse head and shoulders. So if the inverse head and shoulders pattern is bullish, then this head and shoulders pattern, the total opposite, will be a bearish chart pattern. So this is the reason why I was saying that there's most likely going to be a sell-off into earnings instead of a rise up into earnings. All right, but if we do break this ascending support trend line of this head and shoulders chart pattern, or also our neckline here, we'll most likely flush below 88. So we have two main reasons why we can be a little bit bearish going to next week, maybe even going into earnings. We have this 2-hour head and shoulders pattern, okay, which is bearish, and we have a wall of sellers around 88. Okay, so O'Brien, make sure you try to make sure you stay safe on this name and not try to play off of a potential bounce. All right, especially if we go below 88. Okay, I will take one more name actually. If anyone wants to give a name. Yeah, so the 200 MA can be a potential good buy, especially so if we go below 88, O'Brien, I would say a good target will be at this 2 hour time frame 200 SMA because this is still a solid level of support across all time frames, especially the price is very near the 200 SMA. But I would say around maybe even 85.50ish will be a good target price if we look to short this name. But overall, I think this name, I just had to wait until after earnings, to be honest, to play this name. But if you want to day trade and scalp, this can potentially be a great a day trade or scalp. Okay. All right. Oh, Roku. So Roku has been a huge topic for my CFO Single subscribers. I know there's a couple people, at least 3 people, who've been doing absolutely amazing with the day trades here on Roku on every single bounce because I did tell them that 252 was a very critical area of support, and so there's a lot of buying going on around that support area. So I know people who got in right here who swung it until this candlestick, and I also know people who bought right here and sold right at the top around 365-ish. Okay, right at the touch of the 200 SMA. Now, as you guys can already see, that this name looks pretty bearish once again, and I've already explained why as well in my previous live, where if you look at the RSI here, right? So even today, so even a day like today, we had a little slightly green day, right? The RSI it looks like it's recalibrating back to the 40 to 60ish range, where I will think that Roku will still be chopping around below the 200 SMA here, so around 350 to around 370. And even if the RSI looks strong and is saying that the name is relatively strong, there can be a high chance that Roku is going to go lower because of the fact that we're now letting the 21 SMA catch up here. So the 21 SMA is going to be our next big level of resistance. So I expect if we see a nice bounce next week above 358, I think we're going to see a huge, big move up. And then as we're going up, the 21 SMA is going to cross lower. It's going to start to move lower and lower. And eventually it's going to be almost at or near 370 here. So with that in mind, if the 21 SMA has arrived by that time at 370, guess what? The price will most likely reject from that point on. Sure, the price may touch the 21 SMA and go above 371, 370-ish, but usually I always see initial rejection first whenever the price has caught up to the 21 SMA here, okay, or the 21 SMA has caught up to the price action if you guys want to see that different perspective there. But it looks like Roku is kind of staying strong though. If I'm kind of if I want to lean to the bullish side, and the reason why I say that as well is that the 50 SMA is not curving downward. To be honest here, actually it's kind of staying relatively horizontal, and it's kind of surprising here because I would have expected with this huge move downward, the 50 SMA will eventually start curving downward like this. But so far, we're kind of just chopping around here and even kind of showing little tiny movements to the top side. So, obviously, I'm going to need to see a lot more candlesticks here, a lot more days to happen here, a lot more trading days in order for me to see if the 50 SMA is actually going to go to the downside, curve downward, or maybe even to the upwards, even to the upside if the price continues to go up. But that's really it for Roku. I'm still going to expect a lot of choppiness around the 200 SMA. As you guys can see, there's been 3 times we rejected from the 200 SMA, meaning all the sellers here are still very much present. So the people who've been shorting this name from this whole period of selling, they're still present here, and there may even be more sellers coming in, especially on a day like this, okay, which was yesterday. Okay, so that is it for today. I will cut it short always on Fridays from this point on because I know a lot of people are kind of chilling and they don't want to look at the markets anymore. But I will also be looking into, like I said on the last live, that I may be doing YouTube lives during market hours just for you guys. Okay, so if you guys are interested in that, I will be putting on a bulletin on my Instagram timeline on my account or on my story. I'll probably do both. But if you guys want to see that, please try to tune in because I just know there's a lot of information that you guys can take away from this. How do I know all the viewers who have been messaging me? But you trade it every day, Brian? Well, there we go. I mean, if you trade it every day, then that's even better because that means you're getting very, very comfortable with how Roku is moving. And that's one of the good aspects that a lot of good traders have, especially day traders, where they're able to trade a specific name for countless amount of times on any given trading day just because of the fact that they're very comfortable with how a certain name moves and how the name deals with specific amounts of volume as well, and even reacts to specific price levels. Of course, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. I truly appreciate you, man, for always tuning into these lives because I know you really take these lives seriously, just like a few others here, and you really take in what I say and absolutely formulate great trade game plans for yourself. So I'm also glad to see you on the CFO Swinger Watch as well. Okay, so that is it. I will see you guys on the next live, and I also have an exclusive video coming out tonight on A-Firm. So if you guys don't know what's going on with A-Firm, there was some very good positive news throughout the month of August with partnerships with Apple and Amazon, and I kind of go over that on my next video. So I will be uploading that tonight. So make sure you guys are constantly looking at my my YouTube page here, but I will be announcing it on my Instagram as well. Okay, so I hope you guys also enjoyed that video. Make sure you guys give a thumbs up to this live video down below and comment down below. Once this live is uploaded, what else names are you guys looking at for next week? All right, so stay safe out there, and I will see you guys on the next live on Monday. Thank you all for tuning in.